Hello, Aries. Welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. My name is Paul. If Aries is your sun, moon, or rising sign, this is your tarot card reading. Remember to hit the like button, leave a comment, consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. If there is anything you would like me to pray over, or meditate upon, or send positive energy toward, please let me know. Now, this is a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger, and I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I provide. And remember, Aries, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. And we start with the Hierophant. I feel like you're moving into a season of your life where you're thinking more about like passing your knowledge on, or what you're leaving to the next generations, what you're leaving to the people in your lives, and how you're meant to kind of share what you know and share what you've been through. So I feel like there's kind of like almost like a teaching vibe in your life right now. I think that you've always been somebody that people have learned a lot from. You know, like you give good advice or something, or like you're always able to show people like how to do things. Or if people have an issue, people have a problem, they can go to you for help. You're probably very smart. You know, I'm picturing like a kid who is having difficulty on their math homework, and they'll come to you to ask for help. You know, and I think that your friends, your family look to you for advice. Quite often, I think you do give good advice. And I think that there is an opportunity for you now in your life to consider how you're passing some of your wisdom, some of your knowledge on to others, whether it's through a blog or a YouTube channel, or through a book, or through letters, or through art, or through poetry, or through conversation, or whatever. You know, it doesn't have to be like literally teaching, but it might be. We need to put this into a little bit of context and see what is going on with our Hierophant. There we have the Empress. Interesting. The Empress is a card of cultivation. Are we cultivating some knowledge? Are you tending to a garden here, perhaps, of followers or disciples or students? You know, I kind of feel that there is this, the Hierophant here is trying to cultivate not only your own knowledge, but again, kind of how we're continuing that process of like, you know, passing it on generationally. Okay, or how we're the custodians of our own wisdom, knowledge, understanding, our own experiences, and how you might be using those experiences, you know, to, in a way, impart something to others. Yeah. Let's keep going. We have the Hanged Man. We have a 7 of Pentacles. We have a 10 of Cups, and we have the Magician. Very nice. So along with all of that kind of passing on our wisdom, I do think that your past has educated you quite well, and not in the way that we would like, you know. In other words, you've fallen down a lot in life. And I think that has given you a tremendous wisdom that now is kind of has cultivated you into the Magician. You give me any good magician, and I'll show you somebody that has failed a lot. Somebody that has fallen down a lot. Okay? Because that's where our experience comes. Those are usually the experiences we remember, right? The 10 of Cups is very good. We have the Hanged Man here, 10 of Wands, 2 of Swords, Princess of Cups, Princess of Pentacles. Yeah, this, again, it kind of feels like there is some sort of a younger energy in your life that you're passing something on to. It could be your kids, it could be students, it could be, you know, just the younger generation, you know, or leaving something for other people in the form of a blog. I don't know, blogs still exist. Showing my age here. or YouTube videos or posts or, whatever it might be. But I do feel that there's a dynamic here. Like there's somebody younger than you that you're trying to pass knowledge or wisdom or guidance perhaps to, or someone even younger than you that you're trying to help. Okay, if we're getting specific, it may be a younger female energy in your life. Okay, let's select the mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card. This is a random card from the Smith-Waite Tarot. This is the factor infinite and unknown. We're going to set it down right over here. Not with Dwight K. Schrute. Let's use, what are we thinking here, people? Let's, oh, I know, Tiny Bob Ross. Tiny Bob Ross, right there on top. Happy little Bob. Now, we're not going to look at that happy little card until the very end. It will tie everything together, and it will give us the confirmation that we need at the end of the reading. If at any moment during this message you feel like you might know what that card might be, put your prediction in the comments right below the video. Now, as we look around the room, we see 1, 2, 3, 4 majors, some fire, some water, some air, some earth. Okay, so fairly balanced. A nice cluster of major arcana cards. But the Hierophant right here in the middle, I feel like this is really an energy of like consolidating our wisdom, trying to figure out what we know and what we don't know. This is a tradition. This is, to me, it feels like you're understanding what your past has taught you, and you're able to kind of translate that into productivity, into real wisdom. Like this might be knowledge, right? Or in teaching, like learning our lessons well. But this is wisdom, because this is how we apply that experience, that teaching, those lessons. Okay, and I think that I think that there is a very specific linear interpretation here. There was a failure, there was a lesson learned, you're kind of licking your wounds a little bit, but it's leading you to mastery. It's leading you to real, true wisdom. As you're hoping for the Ten of Cups, you're hoping to manifest your dream. This is the card that we're truly, truly after. But the Hierophant is other things too. It may be that you are showing up in your life as a teacher. Okay. This could be a spiritual tradition. This might even be telling you that you need to return to your core values and say, like if we're coming off the tail end of I don't want to call it a failure. It's a little f failure. Not a big F failure, but just a little f failure. Something didn't work out. Something didn't grow to the degree we thought it would. Okay. I feel like when that happens, it sort of prompts us to take accounting of what we believe and what we feel. And am I still living by my principles? Am I still aligned with my goal? Do I still want the same things? And it might be that you've been studying more lately too. You might be studying things that really feed your soul. I don't think it's like I'm trying to learn new information. I think it's like you're trying to consolidate something. You're trying to crystallize your own knowledge within you. So you might be revisiting some old favorites in terms of literature or spiritual texts. But I think we're questioning things. We're asking, we're trying to take stock of who we are in some way. Yeah. I think that you are being asked for advice or wisdom or some sort of teaching from other people. I do feel a younger female energy in your life. And I think that you're being asked for some guidance by that person. And it may even be because of your own experiences. You're thinking, I don't know if I'm the right person to even give advice. But you are. Okay? You are. You're the right person. Okay? I think that there is maybe part of your routine that's shifting now. I think you're moving into a period of self-care in the sense that I almost feel like you charged forward somewhere, and it didn't work out exactly the way you thought. So now we're kind of pausing, and we're just sort of like regrouping, We're regrouping a little bit. And honestly, I think that you're somebody that's been down this particular road before. And so you are qualified to give this other person, this younger female energy, you are qualified to give them advice. But you also know what you need to do. I feel like there's a real maturity in your wisdom. Okay? I think that you are, in a way, falling back on your routines and your habits and your rituals that truly do work for you. Maybe that with the Seven of Pentacles, you try to do you try to innovate, you try to do something kind of extra. You push yourself beyond your limit. Okay? And I don't think I don't think it's really a failure. I think it's that we stretched beyond our capacity and we learned kind of what our limit is, and then we're going to continue to stretch past that limit. And I think this is now like we're sort of pulling back to what we know works. Yeah. We're sticking to the meaningful sort of practices. And I think that you have a very keen sense of what is sacred to you. Yeah. That you believe in your path so much that a little Seven of Pentacles isn't going to faze you. Okay? Isn't going to faze you. But I do feel like we're sort of revisiting our spiritual practices, our philosophical practices to regain a kind of stability. Okay? And with that Empress, I feel like it is kind of, in a way, we're licking our wounds. We're trying to regroup. Okay? But you're nurturing something. I think you're nurturing others. I think maybe you are literally a teacher. I feel that there is something else in your life that you're trying to cultivate, and maybe it is the same thing that back here didn't quite work so well, but you're not giving up on it. In fact, you're giving it more love and more attention. You're saying, okay, well, I say it's your garden, and you're trying to do something a little extra, and then it didn't quite work. Okay, well, that didn't work. So I'm just going to fall back to what I know works. It's the water, sunlight, soil, And then I think you're going to come up with some new ideas. Okay, well, maybe I'll try this and see how this works. If it does, great. Then we kind of level up. If it doesn't, we fall back to our current baseline. And we say, okay, that wasn't the route. You see what I mean? I think that this card is really the love and the care that you show to your garden. Because what you care for is going to flourish. And maybe this is your love for this other person, this younger person, that they need a little bit of your guidance, they need maybe some emotional reassurance, okay, or they need some advice, yeah. I feel like there is a great energy of you like teaching and supporting someone in your life. And maybe this is you. Maybe this is really about you like, kind of like mothering yourself, but then not fathering yourself, but being like the elder sage to yourself. Okay, these two cards together, and then of course we see their correspondence is here with the princesses. And I interpret this as, well, there are, at least one younger person in your life that you're trying to nurture and teach and guide and all that stuff. So it could be literal, but it could be that you are looking at yourself this way, that you are trying to reassure yourself and guide yourself and give yourself advice and teach yourself. Like you might be that younger energy, that's in need of that kind of mothering energy, yeah? And I think self-care is always a big part of the readings. I think you need to make sure you get good rest, you get good food, and you surround yourself with beauty and love and support. Okay? And I feel like you're offering that to yourself and to anyone else in your life that might need it. Okay? So interpret that how you need to. The Hanged Man, however, is specifically you. Because this is the feeling that you would sacrifice everything that you could ever have for the sake of others. Okay? And that's a very wonderful quality, that you have this self-sacrificing energy. That whatever this garden is that you're trying to cultivate, you would give all of your waters to it. Your blood, sweat, and tears, you know? This card always reminds me of Dune. You would give all of that because you care and you love. There's nothing you wouldn't do for the people that you love, okay? Or the purpose or your destiny or whatever it is. I feel like this is also representing you needing a little bit of nurturing too. So I kind of feel like this is the wounded healer, or the even the teacher that is in search of their own knowledge and wisdom and understanding, while they're also guiding others too. I don't know if there might be a name for that. But I'm kind of feeling that the wounded healer type of energy for you. Okay. But this is a card that's saying what I didn't quite work out. I feel, a little bit like, not a setback really, but I feel like I got knocked back down to the baseline. And maybe your baseline's way up here, but we continue to reach higher and higher. Sometimes we don't make it on the first try, and we land back where we were. And not falling all the way to the bottom, but whatever your most recent baseline was. You know what I mean? And this is that feeling like, okay, I got wounded. Yeah. And, it's that willingness to sacrifice for what we love. And I think that this is now we're allowing for a pause, because I feel like there's a situation that was delayed, or you're getting this pause energy. It's like, okay, I've been pushing really, really hard for something. Now I just need to take a step back and regroup and revisit the routines and the practices that work, and sort of, recollect myself and go again, right? So that kind of vibes with our Ten of Wands too, right? Because this is like massive push, a massive push. And I think it's time to slow down and regroup right now and collect our thoughts, collect our feelings, nurture ourselves, and heal others, learn and teach. Okay, we need to do all of that stuff. Yeah. So this is a card of surrender, and I feel like we're accepting that Seven of Pentacles. We're accepting, okay, this happened, and that's okay. There is absolutely nothing wrong with this. In fact, this is supposed to happen. And whenever this does happen, we're getting closer and closer and closer to becoming who we need to become, to finally reach across that threshold and get to the next baseline level. Okay. And with the Seven of Pentacles, well, you know what I want to do before that? Let's do an Oracle of Manifestation. The real connection. Honor your divine essence and seek support from community. I find my spirit tribe. Okay? Put that in the comments for me if you would. I find my spirit tribe. I think that in a way you have your spirit tribe, and that's who you're kind of having this exchange with. This teacher to student, the healer to the wounded sort of relationship. Well, you're the wounded healer. You're the teacher that also needs wisdom. You know what I mean? That also needs more knowledge. And so I feel like there's an exchange there. And so maybe that is, you having that real connection with your community, with your people. Okay. where you're healing others at the same time you're healing. And you're teaching others while at the same time you're also learning. Yeah. And now the Seven of Pentacles in the background here, this is maybe failure, yeah. But it could be a delay, a frustration. It could be that progress has slowed down. This is like a setback. Okay. But it's not a setback that derails you or knocks you off your path. No, it's kind of like we're reaching for something that's higher than the current level we're at. We're stretching beyond our capabilities. You're supposed to fail a little bit, okay? And it may just seem that, progress is a little bit slow, a little bit sluggish. But don't doubt your progress because it's happening, okay? You're not quitting. There's a Saturn in Taurus energy here. And in fact, the Hierophant is Taurus, right? So I feel like this is now you really understanding what this activity that didn't lead you to the big goal, right? It was a stretch, it was an attempt, and you're kind of now in that Hierophant energy thinking, okay, what did I learn? When I went up against this obstacle, what did I learn? What did it teach me? Because if it didn't teach you anything, you're going to keep going back to this and banging your head against the wall. Nothing's going to change. But if you do it, you fail, you fall down, right? You get thrown down on the mat, then you learn something. And so the next time you attempt, you're going to be that much wiser. And it's only a matter of time before you get through this obstacle. Okay? So this is the moment where you are slowing down to review, refine, and replan. Okay? And be very patient with yourself. Like it could be that something needs more time to gestate right now. What does this apparent failure want you to learn or change? And the Empress is saying you've got to show kindness to yourself. And the kindness is allowing yourself to heal, allowing the lesson to really sink in, recollecting yourself, regrouping, and then we're getting out there with even more magic. This is the process of becoming a good magician. You know that. This is exactly the process. And I do think because of our princesses that there is an opportunity for you to teach this to other people. Maybe you're teaching manifestation to others. Okay. So I think the Seven of Pentacles is really a good card here because it's an opportunity for us to learn and grow. Okay. What we call failure is often the feedback that's pointing us to a truer way of doing it. So we're not throwing the whole garden out, right? We're fixing the soil, and we're going to keep tending to that garden. Because what you're after is the Ten of Cups, the dream come true, the perfect contentment and perfect bliss. This is what we really want, This is how you want your life to feel. This is the future that we're after. And it is fullness. It's completion. It's an emotional completion. It's togetherness. This is what you've always wanted, right? And I think that this is what you're trying to always keep at the top of your consciousness is how getting to your goal will feel. Well, this didn't feel like that. This felt kind of sucky, okay? And it's supposed to. But you're always thinking in your mind and in your heart, how's it going to feel when I get to my goal? Like it's not about what it looks like. That's why we don't have a lot of pentacles in the reading. It doesn't matter what you're doing. It doesn't matter what it looks like. What matters is how it feels. Right? So when we have goals, it's not about getting the thing. It's about how getting the thing is going to make us feel. And if this is what we need to hold on to, that feeling, this is our meditation. To sit there, that's why people will sit in meditation and will meditate on loving kindness or compassion, right? Meditate on how it feels to get to the goal that you're after, to succeed at whatever you've been reaching for. How does that feel? This is what will truly satisfy you. This is, this is that dream come to. This is the crystallization of your dream. And this, I think, is a key component to the art and science of manifestation, which, by the way, is what the magician is the master of. The magician is the master of the art and science of causing change in conformity with will, i.e. manifestation. Okay, and you are the magician, and this is the process that's making you a better magician. If you want to learn, you have to teach. If you want to heal, you have to heal others. All the while keeping this feeling of wholeness and completion right on the top. This has to surround your whole body, this feeling. So I want you to meditate on this golden light that's surrounding you like a cocoon. And that in that light is that feeling of bliss or contentment or ecstasy or connection or fullness or whatever it is that your goal is going to provide for you. Okay, well, I want you to feel that now, because it doesn't matter what the physical goal is. When you start to feel this, it doesn't matter what the goal is. The physical aspect becomes irrelevant. And so this is that process that you need to engage presently, so that you can go forward as a greater magician. Because in the near future, you're going to be back at it, okay? Right now, it's about healing through healing others, learning through teaching others, okay? And understanding what this lesson... See, it's interesting that we have, to me, the Empress is kind of a watery card, and of course, Taurus, the Hierophant, is an earthy card. So we have kind of like the physical lesson that needs to be learned, the practical aspect. Then we have the emotional aspect as well. And that's echoed here with the Princess of Cups and Pentacles, the water and the earth. So there's the physical component, what actually happened. What actually, you were reaching for something and it didn't quite work. So what are the facts, right? What actually happened? Well, I didn't screw the screw in tight enough and it fell out. I don't know. Whatever. Your bookshelf fell apart, right? Why? Why is that? Well, I didn't read the instructions well enough, or I didn't tighten the screw well enough, or like there was a board that was upside down. I've had a lot of hard time putting together those Amazon bookshelves. So this is the physical aspect, right? What did we learn? And if we think we've learned something, let's try to teach somebody else how to do it. The best way to learn something is to teach it, right? And then with the water, with the emotional aspect too, it's like, how does this feel? Right? And am I now dwelling on the negative feelings? Am I wallowing in my suffering? Has this become a pity party? No, I'm healing from this. I'm learning from this. I'm growing from this. And I'm meditating on this fullness. So emotionally, we're kind of saying, okay, well, what happened emotionally? Well, my ego took a blow. Okay. But now we're moving into this magician. And you are the magic maker. Okay. And this process is creating in you a more skilled, a more wise magician. So in the very near future, you're going to be focusing your will again. Okay? And the opening is going to appear. That's going to allow you, give you the opportunity to enact your will and focus your powers. You're going to point your energy at this problem again. You're going to start the project again. You're going to send the message again. You're going to make the move that didn't work last time. You're going to use your tools, your knowledge, your techniques, your technology, your talent, your voice, your mind, intentionally, because it's grown a little bit from last time, So this is learning. You're learning. You're learning emotional wisdom. You're learning practical wisdom. Okay. And ultimately, that's what the princesses are. They're the parts of the tarot that are you as the student. Emotionally learning and practically, physically, financially, or health-wise, learning. And so I really feel like this is our parents. This is kind of a wise elder, and this is a very mothering, healing energy that's trying to teach the kids, how to be good magicians, right? It's so cool. I love the tarot when it does things like that, because it's something so relatable. At least to me, I hope it is to you as well. But this magician is, one, it's part visualization. It's part, and now you're not visualizing just the goal. I want you to meditate on that, the feeling that the goal will give you, and feeling like you have that energy now. But as far as your mind goes, we need to not only visualize the end state, visualize the bookshelf completed with all my books on it. It's beautiful, right? Visualize the process. Visualize the bridge getting to that goal. Okay? And that is going to allow you to see every step of the way, and how hard it's going to be, and how much I'm going to have to feel the emotions of it, and how maybe physically tired I'm going to be. And since I've already visualized that and put myself there and felt the feelings of it, and that's part of your 10 of Cups too. Feel the full, complete feelings. Don't just pick out the warm, fuzzy feelings that you like. Visualize the whole effing process, the blisters and all, the fatigue and all, the thirst, the hunger, the exhaustion. Visualize all of that. So when you're actually there and you get the blister, you say, oh, okay, yeah, there's the blister. I knew that was coming. And so you can keep going. So it could be that this whole thing is a visualization, right? But I think it's very important that with the 10 of Cups, you don't neglect any of those feelings. I'm only going to focus on the good stuff. Then what happens when you get some of the bad stuff? What happens when you're on your journey, you're on that part of the bridge from here to paradise, and you're on that spiral road, and it's not a fun day. It's not a pleasant experience. What happens when you get the blister or the splinter? You're not going to know. You say, what's this feeling? I don't like this. I'm out of here. So the 10 of Cups to me feels like fullness, completeness, right? Which means everything. I'm not leaving out any part of this. What about the boring parts? Where it's just like, what about the part that I hate of putting together the bookshelves, when you got to clean up afterwards, when you got to pick up all the styrofoam and plastic and stuff and cardboard and take it to the recyclery. That's the part nobody really wants to talk about, the cleanup afterwards. But I think the magician knows all of this, And so I think there is that kind of going through scenarios. But this is somebody that's going to get the job done. You're directing your power. You're consciously using what you have now. And there's no part of you that cannot be brought to bear on your path, on your task, on your goal. The goal itself, but the spiral road to get there. The path to the goal. And so, anyway, I like it. Now we're going to talk about the path of the serpent. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do. Your general energy is the 10 of Wands. I think that you have a lot of gas in the tank and you are ready to go. This to me feels like maximum effort. You're ready to put in everything you've got because your goal is everything to you. That 10 of Cups, it's like that's what we want. We want all of it. And so you're really willing to go all in. And I think you do go all in. And then you take the result and you say, okay, what did I learn? How am I growing? And how can I be the magician? Then the magician kind of takes all that fire, all that will, and brings it to bear upon the problem. So yes, it could be that, right now we're resting, we're having a cup of soup, and we're reviewing the, what is it that sports people do? They review the footage of their game or whatever, like the last game that they played, they're reviewing the footage. Not to sit there and pat themselves on the back and say, well, look at me, I'm perfect. Look how good I did running that ball down the field or whatever. Look at reviewing the game footage to say, see, right there, my hesitated. Right there, I looked the wrong way. Or right there, I shifted my weight wrong, Not because we failed. Maybe you won the game. Maybe this isn't a failure, but maybe this was a win. You won the big Super Bowl Cup thing. But you're going to review the footage anyway to say, where could I improve? Always be learning. Yeah, always be learning. And always bring all of your effort. If you're not willing to put in 110%, what are you even doing here? And so we have that card. As your general energy, I feel like you're fired up for your goal. I mean, big time. Whatever this path is for you. And I don't even know if there is necessarily one particular goal that says, I want to win the Super Cup. No, maybe it's like you just want to be the best version of you that you can be. And maybe that means you're going to win a dozen Super Bowls, or Stanley World Cups or whatever they're called. There doesn't have to be a particular finish line. Okay. In fact, I think it's probably better when there's not. You can have goals, milestones. Yeah, you need those. You need the milestones. But I think if you have a particular finish line or a particular number or a date or a time where you just say, when I get there, I'm going to quit. I don't know if that's really going to work for you. I feel like you're going to say, I'm not going to quit. I'm going to keep going. Yeah. We've got a Two of Swords here. And this is really wonderful energy for you because this is peace. This is like we're not stressing out. If I'm trying to put together that bookshelf and it didn't turn out right, I'm not freaking out. I'm not losing my mind over it. I'm calm. I'm a little bit detached. I think that's the key for you as well. To be a little bit detached so that you can, it's kind of almost the way like a doctor or a surgeon needs to be kind of detached. Not in the sense that there's no feeling. It's not apathy. But it's us not letting ourselves sink into that suffering and wallowing in the pity party, because then we're just going to lose it. And we're not going to do anything. My mind won't be sharp enough to even learn the lessons. What did you learn through your experience? I don't know, nothing. How do you feel? I don't know, nothing. And so that's not us. So we have a little bit of this objectivity. We're choosing peace. A little bit of detachment, balance, inner calm. Okay? Every time I say inner calm, I think of intercom, like, intercommunication. And I think of it as like we're communicating with ourselves. There is an intercom inside of us with our spirit, with source, with the divine, with the cosmic consciousness. We are communicating, and that's what this card is. It's the intercom. It's peace, but it's, right, intercom, whatever. Because of that crescent moon at the top. It's showing that we maintain balance even in chaotic situations, even in situations that feel like failures, or when we're reviewing our game footage and we're thinking, oh gosh, I can't believe like I did that move. I can't believe I was that slow, or that I moved to the wrong foot. I can't believe I did that. We're able to look at ourselves because the tool of perception is pointy at both ends. And we're going to look at ourselves, but not in a way that's going to make us feel bad. We're looking at ourselves somewhat objectively so that we can say, okay, where do I need to grow? Where do I need to heal? Where do I need to improve? Okay. And I think that shows a lot of love. And I like that. So it's not the absence of conflict. It's not the absence of difficult stimuli, but it's how we're able to stay intercommunicated with our spirit, source, soul, so that we can deal with those troubling situations, conflict or disappointment or the little f failures. And really, this is a card of non-judgment. We're staying neutral. Because neutral is allowing you to heal and allowing you to learn. I'm not going to get angry with myself. Don't get down on yourself. Don't say, gosh, Paul, you're stupid. No. None of that. Okay? We're staying neutral. I'm not judging myself. I'm looking at your highlight reel from the last game or reviewing the game footage. Not to judge yourself. Not to say, oh gosh, I suck. Or look at me, I'm the best. No, but looking at it and saying, if this was, let's pretend I don't know who that person is. What could they do to improve? What am I noticing about their technique or about their approach or about their methodology? That's what we're doing here, okay? And then what we're doing is we're growing emotionally and, physically, technically. We are evolving. We're learning. Okay, we are learning. The Princess of Cups is in an interesting position. To me, this is the jail position of the spread. This is Monopoly. This is like, go to jail, don't pass go, don't collect $200. This is that emotional feeling. This is that, that feeling that we're trying to unlock now. And I think that this is really like us being, tender with ourselves and kind to ourselves and, allowing ourselves to be a little sensitive, but listening to what our heart is saying. Okay, because I think that you do have a very objective ability to look at your skill or look at your performance and say, this is what I did wrong, this is how I need to grow. But I feel like we need that kind of self-care. We need to be kind to ourselves, and we need to give ourselves a big hug sometimes, And I think that we need to open ourselves up to our emotions. There's not a lot of water here. I mean, there is. But it may be that, you're trying to block out any of the challenging feelings. And that's, when we talk about being a little bit detached or trying to be objective or being neutral, it doesn't mean that we're not feeling our feelings. It just means that we're not judging our feelings. How I feel today is no judgment of who I am or what I'm doing or how good I am or like what I'm worth or whether this is going to work or not. It's just a feeling. Okay? And so we're trying to allow ourselves to feel how we feel so that we can heal those emotions. Otherwise, it's somebody who goes through a lot of difficult, challenging things and, yes, is learning about it, learning about themselves and going back and they're improving and technically they're getting better and better and better, but they're not feeling their feelings. It doesn't mean we have to break down and cry, but it means that we need to at least give some expression to how we feel. Okay, and it may not be the easiest thing for you. So we do have to listen to what the emotions are, and maybe as sort of as neutral and as objective as we can, but for us to at least say, yeah, this is how I feel, and this sucks. This is a feeling, and we can maybe name it, identify it. It's data, kind of, right? It's not a threat. And allow yourself some loving kindness toward yourself. Don't be too harsh on yourself. As you're reviewing that highlight reel or the game footage, don't beat yourself up. Okay? Don't lift yourself up on a pedestal and say, I'm the best that ever lived and I don't need to improve at all, but don't knock yourself down either. I think it's important that you recognize that, well, I guess in a way, yes, put yourself on a pedestal. Okay? In a way, lift yourself up, raise yourself up, and cherish yourself and love yourself to the highest degree. At the same time, you can also acknowledge that I could improve, I can work harder, I can do different things. Okay? That I'm a magician and I need to continue to grow into a better and better magician. Your Princess of Pentacles here at the end is really saying that, like, you are improving, things are getting better, you are achieving more and more of your goals, okay? The verdant energy is returning here, Okay, because the Princess of Pentacles will eventually become the Empress. So in some ways, I do feel like you're kind of like you're trying to teach the next generation, or like you're already planting the seeds for the next iteration of something, or the next version of you. You're already cultivating the next version of you. It's this, I feel a weird sci-fi vibe now, where here we are in our maturity, and we're cultivating and nourishing the next version of ourselves that's growing up, that will eventually replace. It really feels like that show Foundation, the Empire, right? But anyway, let's look at our mystery card. Okay. Maybe it should be like a 6 of something, or I think a 6 of Cups would be perfect, actually. So let's see what we have. Oh, yeah. The Magician. Perfect. Another Magician, doubling up on the magic there, yeah? So this is the next version of you as a magician, and then this is the next version of you as the magician, and so on and so on and so on. It's Aries 2.0, Aries 2.1, Aries 3.0, continuing to grow and evolve and get better and better and better. Both of these magicians are you. It may be, yeah, again, that you're teaching other people how to be manifestors or magicians. And I'm curious if that's how you're interpreting this, but this could be all about you too, you know. But I think this is a wonderful confirmation that you are a better magician because of you either failing or because of you looking at your previous game footage and critiquing your performance a little bit here. Okay, now we're going to do an extended reading. Click on the link here or in the video description. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Leave a comment and let me know where in the world you are watching from. I want you to know that you are the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. I thank you and I love you, and we are all in this together.